Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another video of Chem Solve. Today we are going to solve IGCSE Chemistry paper, multiple choice, that is P2. And the code for this paper is 062021, May June 2025. This question has 40 questions and this question paper has 40 questions and the time for this paper is 45 minutes. So let's start the paper. The first question, question number 1, it says a gas is placed in a sealed container with a fixed volume. So the volume is fixed. Okay. The gas is heated. If the gas is heated, it's mean temperature will increase. Okay. Which statements are correct? The gas molecule move around faster. We already know that temperature is directly proportional to kinetic energy. If temperature is directly proportional to kinetic energy, it's mean statement number 1 is correct. Okay. So the next statement says the gas particle collide with the walls of the container more frequently. Okay. So this is basically pressure, because we know that pressure is equal to force over area. Okay, they exert a force on the container, walls of the container. Also, temperature is directly proportional to the pressure at constant volume. So this statement is also correct. Now the next statement, the pressure in the container decreases. We just have discussed that temperature is directly proportional to pressure. So if temperature increases, it means pressure would also be increased. How comes the pressure would decrease? Obviously it will not. So this statement is incorrect. That's how our correct statement is option A. Now move towards the question number 2. Question number 2. Okay. So for question number 2, a heating curve is being given to you. This curve is called the heating curve. Okay. So which statement about this heating curve is correct? This curve, this is about ethanol. That is a liquid. So if this is liquid here, it will start changing its state of matter here, and it would be liquid and gas both. Okay. So basically these phases, let me tell you, these phases are the ones when it starts changing its state of matter here. And these are the phases where the state of matter is being changed. Okay, ethanol changes its state of matter between 3 and 4. Changes its state of physical state between 3 and 4. Of course, it's not the correct statement because it changes its state of matter here. 1 to 2. Sorry, 2 to 3 and 4 to 5. These are the portions in the curve where the state of matter is being changed. Ethanol condenses between 2 and 3. Condensation occurs when we decrease the temperature. This occurs when we decrease the temperature. But this is the heating curve and we are increasing the temperature. So of course this statement is also incorrect. Energy is absorbed between 3 and 4 but not absorbed between 4 and 5. You can see these portions in the curve, they have constant temperature. Energy is being absorbed, but this energy is used to overcome the force of attraction between the atoms. So energy is absorbed here 2 and 3 as well as energy is absorbed here in 4 and 5. So of course this statement is also incorrect. More energy is absorbed between 4 and 5 than between 2 and 3. Look, 2 and 3, it has a shorter portion, while 4 and 5 it would have a bit longer portion. So it's mean more time is given to it, and of course temperature is also more, and here less time is given to it, and of course temperature is less. So at 2 and 3 temperature is less, while in 4 and 5 temperature is more. So we can say that at 4 and 5 more energy is absorbed, more temperature is increased, and in 2 and 3 less temperature is increased or less heat is being absorbed. So the correct statement is option number D. Now comes to question number 3. Okay, in question number 3, we are given certain atoms, and what we have to do, we have to tell that which one of them has equal number of proton, neutron, and electron. So of course we have to calculate them. For that we need periodic table. So according to the periodic table, let's see. Here is Ar, it has 18 and 40. Here is nitrogen, it has 7 and 14. And sodium has 11 and 23. Okay, and hydrogen is 1 and 1. So 11, 7, 18 and 1. Okay, so let's move towards our paper. It has 18 atomic number, it has 1, it has 11, and it has 7. Okay, so we know that the proton number is actually the atomic number. So proton number of Ar is 18, and proton number of hydrogen is 1, proton number of sodium is 11, and proton number of nitrogen is 7. Okay, so electron number is equal to proton number if there is no charge. So of course they don't have any charge, so electron number would be 18, its electron number would be 1, and its electron number would be 11, and its electron number would be 7. Okay, how to calculate the neutron number? We subtract the mass number and the atomic number. So 40 minus 18, it would be 22, and 1 minus 1, it would be 0, and here 23 minus 11, it would be 12, and 14 minus 7, it would be 7. So clearly from this calculation you can see that D is our correct option, because for the option D, proton, electron and neutron all are similar. So for question number 3, the correct option is option D. Now we will move towards the question number 4. Okay, so for question number 4, the only naturally occurring isotope in the sample of europium is EU-151 and EU-153. These are their masses, of course, and they have the relative atomic mass of 152. What is the percentage of 151 EU present in the sample of to the 3 significant figures? So for that we have to use a formula, but first of all, let's understand it has only 2 naturally occurring isotopes. Okay, so the 100% abundance, the total abundance would be 100%. If I suppose that EU 151 has the percentage abundance X, so automatically EU 153 would have the percentage abundance 100 minus X. Make sense? Because the total abundance is 100 now. So if something has only 2 isotopes, it means if the abundance of the first isotope is X, then the other would automatically be 100 minus X. So now I will put my formula. The formula says relative atomic mass is equal to mass of first isotope multiplied by its abundance plus mass of second isotope multiply by its abundance and all divided by 100. Now let's solve it. The relative atomic mass is 152. The abundance 151 plus we have supposed is x plus the other one is 153 and abundance we supposed is 100 minus x divided by 100. So 152 multiplied by 100 is equal to 151x plus 153 minus 153x. Okay, now let's solve it further. By multiplying them, it will give 152 is equal to 151x plus 153 minus 153x. Now I will put the both values with the x on one side and the other values on the other side of the equation. So 152 minus 153 is equal to 151x minus 153x. Okay, so it would be, if I subtract it, it would be 100, and if I subtract it, it would be 2x. Minus will cancel with minus, so I would have 100 is equal to 2x, so x is equal to 100 over x, 100 over 2, so it would be 50. So that's how the percentage abundance of 151 which we had supposed x, this is 50%. So the correct option is B. For question number 4, the correct option is B. Okay, now move towards question number 5. Which statement about potassium chloride is correct? Okay, so potassium chloride is an ionic compound. It is an ionic compound. Now, keeping this thing in our mind, we will see the other options. It has high melting and boiling point. Of course, ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point. So this option, till here, this statement is correct because it is giant structure with a strong covalent bond. Of course not. We just have discussed it is an ionic compound. It means option A is not correct. It conducts electricity when solid? No, not at all. Ionic compounds do not conduct electricity when they are solid. They only conduct electricity when they are molten or in aqueous solution. Okay, so it conducts electricity when molten because ion can move. Of course, this statement is 100% correct. In ionic compounds, when they are dissolved in water, when they are molten, so their ions become free, and due to these free ions, they can move and they can conduct electricity. It is insoluble in water because it has strong bonding. No, most of the ionic compound, they are soluble in water. So this option is also incorrect. Now coming towards the question number 6. Which dot and cross diagram shows the outer shell electronic arrangement in the molecule of the nitrogen? Okay, so nitrogen belongs to the group 5. So it must have, if it is in group 5, belongs to group 5. So the valence electron should be 5 and covalent bonds. How many covalent bonds do the group 5 makes? They form 3 covalent bonds. So we have to look for 3 covalent bonds. Now look at option D. It is forming only 1 covalent bond. So of course this option is incorrect. Option C, it is forming 2 covalent bond. Of course it is again incorrect. If something belongs to group 5, then it should make 3 covalent bond. Now option B, it is making 3 covalent bonds, so it could be our option, and option A is also making the 3 covalent bond, it could be our option as well. But we have to complete the valence shell. Valence shell should have 5 electrons for each. Look at option A. It has only 1, if the cross 1 are for the right hand side nitrogen, so 1, 2 and 3 electron only, and if dot 1 are for the left hand side of the nitrogen, then 1, 2 and 3. So in option A, both nitrogen atom has only 3 electrons, so this option is incorrect. Now look at option number B, which is of course our correct option. This nitrogen has 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 electron, and the left hand side nitrogen 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 electron. So both nitrogen atom has 5 electron. That's how option B is our correct option. Now move towards the question number 7. Which statement about silicon 4 oxide is correct? Okay, which option is correct? Okay, let's see. It contains silicon's ions. Okay, first of all, we have to see silicon 4 oxide. It's a giant covalent structure. Okay, so how could it have ions? Of course not, because ions are only in the ionic compound. So this option, of course, is incorrect. It is used in the electrical circuit because it can conduct electricity. Not. Only graphite is the giant covalent structure which can conduct electricity. Diamond and silicon 4 oxide, they do not conduct electricity at all. So this option is incorrect. Its bonds each contain 1 shared pair of electron. The structure of silicon dioxide is something like that. So it formed the 1 covalent bond. Option C seems to be the correct option, but look at the option D as well. Its atoms are arranged in the same way as the atom in the graphite. Same way, no. Silicon 4 oxide has tetrahedral arrangements, while in graphites there are hexagonal layered structure. So both of them have different arrangement of the atom. Now let's move towards the question number 8. The organic molecule are described for question number 8. The molecular formula of the propanoic acid is this. So let's make the molecular formula. It has C3H1 2 3 4 5 6 and O2. Now next 1 2 3 carbon, hydrogen 1 2 and 3 are here 6, and oxygen 1 2 and 3. Okay, glucose molecule have carbon 6, hydrogen 12 and oxygen 6. Which molecule have the same empirical formula? For empirical formula, we have to simplify them. So C1H2O1, it means it is CH2O. This is C1H2 and O1. It has CH2O as well. Let me recheck it again. For the first one, we have how many carbon? 1, 2, 3 carbons. I put 3 carbon. Hydrogen are 2 and 3, 5 and 1, 6, and of course oxygen are 2. Okay, so its empirical formula couldn't be this one. This would be the same, C3H6O2, because we cannot simplify 2. Okay, so for this one, C1H2O1, so this is CH2O. Question number 8. So you can clearly look that this has the same empirical formula, this has the same empirical formula, and its molecular formula is not same. So for question number 8, lactic acid and glucose, they have the same molecular formula, so I believe D is the correct option. Okay, now move towards question number 9. So for question number 9, calcium carbonate react with the dilute hydrochloric acid, and the equation is given to you. So we are provided with 1 gram of calcium carbonate and 50 cm cube and this much concentration of hydrochloric acid. This is the mass of the calcium carbonate. Okay, and what we have to find out? We have to find out the volume of carbon dioxide. For these type of question, we need to calculate the moles for both of the reactant. So I'm gonna solve here. Moles of carbon dioxide would be 1 over 100. 100 is the MR of the calcium carbonate. Calcium has 12, sorry, it has 40, and carbon is 12, and 3 oxygen, they would be 48. So it would be 100. You can calculate it from the periodic table, and for the moles of HCl, I will use the formula concentration is equal to number of mole over volume. So concentration and volume would be multiplied with each other. Concentration is 0.0500 and volume is 50, but we have to convert it into DMQ. So let's find out their moles. For first one, I have to divide 1 divided by 100, so it would be 0.01. So 0.01. Okay, for the other one, 50 divided by 1000, and so 50 divided by 1000 multiply by 0.05. This is 0.0025. So this is 0.0025 moles. So of course we will use the least mole. So the moles of carbon dioxide would be compared with the HCl. HCl and carbon dioxide. Why did I choose it? Because this is the least value. So always we use the least one. This is 2, this is 1. So if this is 0.0025, this would be X. So moles of carbon dioxide would be 0.0025 divided by 2. So let's calculate it. 0.0025 divided by 2, it would be 0.00125. So it would be 0.00125. They are the moles of carbon dioxide, but we need to calculate the volume. So volume is equal to 0.00125 mole into molar volume, and we have to calculate the volume in cm cube. So I will multiply it with 24,000. We have discussed this formula already in the mole series. So 0.00125 multiplied by 24,000, 0.00125 multiply by 24,000, it would be 30. So I believe our option is option A. The correct option is A. This is 30 cm. Okay. Now question number 10. The diagram shows the electroplating of a steel object. So we have the copper electrode, a steel object. Copper electrode is being made anode, and the electrolyte is aqueous copper sulfate. So what happens? Let's see. Copper is anode, so at anode, copper will ionize like this. It will be ionized. So copper, is blue in color. Copper metal is pink or reddish brown, and copper ions are blue in color. Okay, so what will happen at cathode? At cathodes, these copper positive 2 ions will be reduced and they will form copper. So when it will be formed copper here, all around this steel key, then the steel object turns reddish brown. Yes, this option number 1, it is correct. The aqueous copper sulfate changes from pale blue color to paler blue color. Okay, so our electrolyte is copper sulfate. It will be ionized into copper positive 2 and SO4 minus 2. In solution, there are a lot of copper positive 2 ions. If there are a lot of copper positive 2 ions and it is again turning into copper, so there is no change at all. Copper positive 2 ions are here, copper positive 2 ions are here, and they are forming the copper again. So there wouldn't be any change in the color. This 2 statement is incorrect. The copper electrode become thinner. We just have discussed that it will ionize, it will form the ions. So with the passage of time, ions will be removed from here and this will become thinner. So this option is also correct. That's why the correct option for this question is option C. Now move towards question number 11. Concentrated aqueous sodium chloride is electrolyzed using inert electrode. Okay, concentrated. So what will happen? Let's see. If it is sodium chloride, then what will happen? It will ionize into Na positive 1 plus Cl minus 1, and water, it will ionize into H positive 1 and OH negative 1. Okay, so we have 2 positive ions. They are Na positive 1 and Cl minus, and H positive 1, and we have 2 negative ions. They are Cl minus 1 and OH minus 1. Okay, so for concentrated solutions, positive ions, we look the electrochemical series from down. Whatever comes first, it will be discharged. So hydrogen comes first. So at cathode, H positive will be reduced. Okay, and for negative ones, always remember, never OH negative ions. Okay, so we will select the other ion always when the solution is concentrated. This condition is only when the solution is concentrated, then we will never discharge hydroxyl ion. We will only take Cl negative ions. So for the positive electrode, Cl negative ion will go and it will be of course ionized, will form Cl2. So according to this discussion, option B is the correct option. Okay. Now move towards the question number 12. Which equation represents the overall reaction? We have to select the overall reaction in hydrogen fuel cell. Okay. So for hydrogen fuel cell, let me write the equations first. What happens? We have 2H2, it ionizes, it gives 4 electron and 4H positive, and then we have oxygen and it is reduced, it gains 4 hydrogen ions and 4 electron and it forms 2H2O. This is the equation which take place at anode and this is the equation which take place at cathode. Now if I add both of them, what will happen? H positive ion will be cancelled out, electron would be cancelled out, because in the above equation, in the question, equation number 1, they are in the product, and in equation number 2, they are in the reactant. So what I will be left with, 2H2 plus O2, it will give 2H2O. So clearly option A is the correct option. Now move towards question number 13. Okay. Question number 13. Water is added to the anhydrous copper sulfate and the mixture becomes hot. If the mixture becomes hot, it's automatically mean this reaction is exothermic, because mixture becomes hot as the heat is being released. Okay, if this reaction is exothermic, then it becomes easier for us. Now we will not look at option number A and B because they represent endothermic. Now I have to compete between C and D. Now look at option C. For exothermic reaction, heat is being released. That's why always reactant are above the product. So option C, reactant are above, product are below, while in option D, reactant are below and the product are above. This is of course not correct. So I believe the correct option is option C. Okay. Now question number 14. The equation represents the reaction between ethanoic acid and ethanol. Okay. Which type of reaction is this? Look at the sign. Clearly shows that this is the reversible reaction. So don't need to look at the other option. This is reversible reaction. It is clearly shown with the symbol of arrows. Okay, now move towards question number 15. The graph shows the result of adding excess calcium carbonate to the hydrochloric acid at 50 and at 30. Only the temperature is changed. First the temperature was 50 and then the temperature was dropped to 30. Okay, so what happens when the temperature would be lowered? Okay, so if the temperature is lowered, what will be happen to the frequency of collision? When the temperature is low temperature, less collision. And temperature is also directly proportional to kinetic energy. So if the temperature is low, kinetic energy is also low. So low temperature, low collision, and low temperature, low kinetic energy. So this says higher, higher, this says higher, higher. They are not the correct options. We have to choose both the things lower. So clearly our option is option D. Okay, so let's move towards question number 16. Industrially, ammonia is made by the Haber process. The equation is shown. So conditions are 450 degrees Celsius temperature and 200 atm pressure. And this sign represents that this reaction is exothermic reaction. And for exothermic reaction, if temperature is decreased, then forward reaction is favored and vice versa. If we want the reaction to move in the product side, then what we have to do, we have to decrease the temperature. But for this reaction, temperature is 450, that is not less. So what happens? Temperature below 450 degrees Celsius will give the lower rate of reaction, of course. Of course, this option, this statement is correct. Why? Because temperature is directly proportional to rate of reaction. Temperature is actually directly proportional to kinetic energy, and if there is more kinetic energy, then there would be higher chances of collision, and if there would be higher chances of collision, then of course the rate of reaction would be increased. So this is correct. Temperature below 450 gives the lower yield of ammonia. No, I just told if the temperature would be less, then the forward reaction would be favored. Then it means there will be higher yield of the ammonia. So this statement is not correct. Pressure above 200 atm gives the lower yield of ammonia. Both of them are the gases. Nitrogen is a gas, hydrogen is the gas. Hydrogen is a gas. So if both the things are gases and we increase the pressure, then actually what happens, they come closer to each other. Collision is being increased, and if the collision would increase, then there would be higher rate of reaction and more product would be favored, more ammonia would be formed. So statement 3 is incorrect. Pressure above 200 atm, too expensive to maintain, of course. For pressure, we have to give energy. So this option is correct. So I believe for question number 16, the correct option is option B, 1 and 4. Okay. Question number 17. Let's start question number 17. Ethanol is warmed with acidified potassium manganate 7. Okay. Potassium manganate is an oxidizing agent. So which row describe the color? Okay, which type of reaction? So it is an oxidizing agent. Of course, it will oxidize. If it will oxidize, it's mean option C and D are the incorrect one. And what about the color of the potassium manganate? Its color is purple, and it changes to colorless when the reaction is done. So purple to colorless, of course, option B is the correct one. Okay. Question number 18. Two experiments involving acid R and S are done. Okay. So what are the information given to us? 0.1 mole of R and 0.1 mole of S. They are dissolved in 500 cm cube. It means their dilution is, or you can say their concentration is equal. Because volume is equal, because moles are equal. Concentration is equal to number of mole over volume. So both have the same number of moles and both have the same volume. That's why their concentration would be equal. It ionizes this much and it ionizes this much. None of them ionizes fully. So what is the definition of strong acid? Strong acid is the one which ionizes completely. And what is the definition of the weak acid? Weak acid is the one which ionizes partially, not completely. So both of them are the weak acid. Clearly, because both of them are not ionizing 100%, they are not ionized completely. So they are not the strong acid. They are not the strong acid. The correct option is option number D. Both of them are the weak acid. Now the question number 19. Lead sulfate is an insoluble salt. This is an insoluble salt. So which process is not used to prepare the pure sample of the insoluble salt? Of course, clearly the option should be A. Why? Because filtration is used to remove the insoluble one. Precipitation is also for the insoluble salt preparation. And drying is only when we have to remove water. So crystallization is used for the soluble salts. And this is an insoluble salt. That's why C and D couldn't be the option. The correct statement is option A.